6K stream team with the My Daily Choice business. And we just wanted to introduce ourselves to you and, you know, let you know a little bit about us and how you're going to benefit by being involved with us. So,
All right. Background first. Married with children. Been married 20 years. This coming July, we'll be married 20 years, happily married. And personal background, came out of high school, 5 years in the military, got out of the military, went into the workforce, started at the lowest echelons, working low-paying jobs, figured out real quickly that corporate America wasn't my cup of tea. Didn't have any college. I did a few college courses along the way, but I didn't go to formal schooling. So, worked my way up through the corporate ladder, about as far as I could get without formal schooling. Just decided that that really wasn't for me. Went out and done a few things. Been a real estate investor. I've owned property, bought property, sold property, rehab property, did rental properties, and for financial reasons and personal reasons, ended up getting out of the real estate business. I've done several other side things along the way, and I've been in the MLM industry. I actually grew up in it. My father, by the time I graduated high school, my father had been in 3 different companies. And the last company he did very well in, but it just wasn't for me at the time. And so I wish I had got into it 25 years ago or stayed in it. But I didn't. Lane and I got into a company a few years ago. It was a startup company. We built a sizable organization in a short period of time. Unfortunately, the product never got off the ground, so that didn't work. So Lane's going to tell you his story, but 2 years ago, I went to work with Lane doing irrigation, and it's been very good. That was very good to us, but came to a point where, especially at my age, looking and going, okay, I'm not going to retire off from this. And so the only business model that I knew, really for me, that worked, that I knew worked, was multi-level marketing, where I could build a residual income and I could have something that I could count on. So, Lane and I got back into multi-level marketing, and when we did that, we show you on another video all of the criteria that we look for in a company, because we're looking to build a lifelong income. So we wanted a company that was going to be around, and that's why we chose My Daily Choice. So all of the not just the potential for us, but it's the potential for everybody that we expose to the business model. And this is why we spent a lot of time, a lot of hours in research, and have a certain criteria that we were looking at, because we wanted something with the longevity, and we wanted something that other people that we introduced the business model to, that they would have the potential. It had to be simple for somebody else to do it. So that's why we chose this company.
So I'm past the half-century point, folks. I don't have the energy or the physical capability that I did 20 years ago. But, of course, I graduated high school, excelled there, and what I mean by that is I figured out a way to get out of it, is what I did, the best that I could. But I signed myself up for summer classes at the end of my junior year, and took the summer classes, so all I had to have was one class my senior year. Okay, so then I got married. I was 19, I graduated, I got married, and that lasted for about 20 years, and in that time period, I worked in the oil field for 8 years and realized that, you know, with supervising other people and having a job of that capacity, that I could do something for myself where I could make money, but, you know, not have just a cap on my income, basically, is what I was looking for. So, I looked around for a year. All of 1986, I looked around and I looked for something, and at that time I wasn't introduced to network marketing or MLM. I didn't know anything about that business model until after I was in business for myself for a couple of years. But when I saw it, I freaked out, because I thought, you know, why doesn't every household have some form of part-time home business? I mean, there are so many different advantages. You know, one of the advantages is your tax. You get tax deductions. You can write off expenses, you know, normal expenses that you would basically be having to pay out of your pocket, you can write off. Anyway, so, you know, I wondered why everybody didn't have one of these home businesses in network marketing or MLM. It didn't make any difference. Okay, so, and I never could figure that out. I never did get hooked up with somebody that, you know, showed me a lot about that until recent years. And then I've learned quite a bit in recent years. But I went from there to growing a company where I had 7 employees, and because of the way things were, I would cry every Friday writing those checks, because I knew those guys that worked their butts off for me couldn't survive on what I was paying them. You know, I couldn't survive on what I was paying them. But it was what the average, you know, pay level was. Anyway, I shut the business down. That's when my wife and I really got crossed with each other, because she didn't understand that. She didn't understand that I was trading nickels, you know, and I couldn't go that route anymore. And I wasn't paying the help that were working their rear ends off for me for, you know, I wasn't able to pay them what I felt that they were worth even. And that was a sore spot for me. So I downsized. I went to, you know, having one guy. There was a real good friend who's passed away since then, but I paid him very well, and we did a lot of work. Anyway, I ended up getting a divorce and moved to the Dallas area in, I guess it was 1997, something like that. I can't put the years back together, so I don't look back that much, as you can tell. But in 2001, I moved to Tennessee, where I'm at now, in Nashville. And since then, when I came to Nashville, I decided to go to work for other companies. And in that, I found one company that was really a good company to work for. They took care of me, you know, all the different things, and they paid me relatively well. And myself and the company owner kind of got crossways one day, and we separated. So that's a whole nother story that we're not going to get into here. But then I went to work for another company, and they promised me a raise. They did a 1-year evaluation with me, and I mean, I was getting paid what I was, actually less than what I was being paid for the previous company I was with when I hired on with them. And they said that they were gonna do a few things and, you know, get me up, get my pay a little bit better. Well, none of that turned out. And I got fed up with those people that will tell you one thing and not do that one thing that they told you they were gonna do. And, you know, I believe that an individual relies on his own integrity. And if you don't treat others with integrity, then that karma is going to come back on you. Anyway, I left that company and started doing my own thing a couple of years ago. And that's when Ray and I have known each other for probably, what, 8 years, 10 years now? Man, that's at least 10 years.
I think it's 10.
I told you I didn't look back. So anyway.
Well, thanks.
So anyway, in that time frame of me meeting Raymond and me knowing Raymond over this period of time, we've become really good friends, and we actually have done some stuff outside network marketing that you'd probably be surprised at. But on the internet, we were putting together a social network, something similar to Facebook, but never could get it off the ground because we couldn't get the funding up to. Anyway, we didn't have the funding to complete the project, so we shut that down. Anyway, then we delved into network marketing, and as Raymond said before, we had this one company that we started recruiting for, and we didn't recruit everybody, but in a period of 6 weeks, we put 300 and some odd people into this company. And the company never did come about to actually produce a product or the product, which it still surprises me because that company is still out there doing their little Ponzi thing. Anyway, so now let's move back all the way up to this last year. We did really well. We installed a bunch of irrigation systems, we repaired a bunch, we made a bunch of good money. Doing that, Ray and I have been working together all this year and the previous year, and we're just tired, you know. And we know that network marketing works, and because there's too many people that are representatives of companies that we've met that make a very good living from work that they did, say, 10 years ago. They're still benefiting from those first people that they talked to in that company. And that's on a monthly, ongoing basis. So that's the whole thing, you know. And it's weird because I want to bring Donald Trump up and what he told a David Letterman audience one night. David Letterman asked him, okay, Donald, let's say that you lost everything and you didn't have any money and didn't have any place to go. Letterman said, what would you do? And Donald said, I'd find a good network marketing company and I would go to work. And the audience started booing and hissing at him. And his response to them was, that's why I'm up here and you're out there. So what does that tell you? You got one of the most influential, rich real estate investor business guys on the planet, okay, that's telling a night talk show host that what he would do if he lost everything was find a network marketing company and go to work. Well, Donald Trump owns several. He partnered with Robert Kiyosaki on one of them, which is if I remember right, it's MLM University or something like that. But it's actually a training site for multi-level marketing. Warren Buffett owns several network marketing companies, so these rich guys, you know, they know something, you know what I mean? So, you know, we're starting out here in the beginning of 2016, and we're looking for other people they're tired of what they've been doing, that want to change, that will put a little bit of work in to create a lifestyle and a life that they couldn't create any other way. They couldn't, you know, the job, going to work 9 to 5 is a past model. And you know as well as we do that model really doesn't work for the average individual, because they're either gone all the time, their time is always taken up by that job, and they can't spend time with their friends or family. They can't go to functions like, you know, their children's plays in the evening or their children's sports activities. So you know where we're coming from, and they may have a lot of money, but they don't have the time freedom, or their job doesn't pay them even enough to pay their rent, to pay their bills. I mean, it's a total, you know, both ends of the spectrum. You either have money or you have time. And even sometimes if you don't have money, you don't have any time, because you always, you know, I know several people that have 3 jobs, that they go to those jobs every day. They schedule everything around those jobs so that what? They don't have a life. What we're trying to convey here is that you can have a life and you can have a lifestyle much greater than the one that you have if you're willing to put a little bit of work in the beginning, okay? And it's not a lot of work. There's a guy that's made with Amway, is Britt, was his name Britt? He kept telling people about Amway, and the guy ended up being a multi-millionaire as a representative of Amway, okay? And he only had 11 people over that span of time that he was actually doing the business that stepped up to the plate and started working. And those 11 people made him a multi-millionaire, okay? That goes back to that one thing that, who was it that said that? I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's effort than 100% of my own. You know, that's a perfect example of that. And it's not taking advantage of somebody. It's actually helping somebody elevate their own life and lifestyle. You know, Britt helped those 11 people change their life. And for that, he was rewarded with, you know, the ability to have a financial stability that no other form of occupation would have ever given him. And this is what we're trying to convey to folks with, you know, creating the things that we create and showing you the things that we show. It's not really necessarily about us, because we're going to be okay with or without you, you know, and we're going to move on. And we're going to find those people that will say yes. But what we're encouraging you to do is to say yes yourself, because this thing is for anybody that has a little desire in them to change their current situation. That's all we're trying to tell you. Anyway, we wanted you to get to know us a little bit more, so we made this video, and this will probably end up being in several videos, but
or something, because I was, you know, had a few other thoughts, but I mean,
no, keep going. We can.
You've done lunch and dinner and midnight snack.
Dude, you know we're not under any kind of time constraint here.
Okay, so one of the things that Lane and I have figured out in our life, by the way, in case you don't know it yet, I'm just going to put it out now. I had been nicknamed the Sponge, The funny thing is that I've been nicknamed Sponge more than one time in my life from two totally, completely separate things. So I've just kind of taken that on. One of the things for me is I'm always expanding my mind, and I'm always expanding my universe, and that also I'm always expanding Lane's universe too. So
That's reciprocal, by the way.
yes, it is. So one of the things about that is that there's a traditional thoughts that are out here that are very limiting. And so one of the things that we've come to is there are no limitations. And in the last 10 years alone, the human potential and the things that we as humans have created and have been able to do and expanding our own potential is absolutely amazing. And what I see going on and what I see happening even in our own lives is everything is expanding, and it's expanding very quickly. And I wanted to point that out because traditionally in multi-level marketing, they say the average person only brings 2 to 3 people to their company. And that's the thing, is that's traditional. What we look at now is that we can bring one person a week into the company. And anybody who comes into this business can bring one person a week into the business, whether it's the benefits or if it's the nutrition products, or whether they're coming in for just the business opportunity. It's irrelevant really what they were exposed to and what they want to do. The point is that now we have the potential, not just us, but anybody has the potential to be able to create a really great lifestyle in a very short period of time. And so on one of our other videos, you're going to see where we have a 30-day jumpstart program and how easily somebody can come into this and basically create a lifestyle. The way we see it, we don't live in the corporate world. We don't go to a job every day. And for us, like Lane was talking about, there's so many benefits to that. And the home-based business industry in itself now is such an expansive industry, and it's just growing and growing and growing. And there's a reason for that.
Okay, one thing that I want to interject here, well, I may interject more than that, but is just the nutritional supplements portion of the MLM network marketing direct selling industry is how much, Ray?
$4.4 billion.
$4.4 billion. That's just one small itty bitty sector of the direct selling MLM industry. So, and if you're talking about the entire industry, you're talking probably, I haven't looked at the numbers, but I will, and I'll post them right here on this video below this part of this conversation. But I'm thinking it's somewhere around $60 billion a year is what the network marketing industry generates. So, what if you had 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10 of 1% of that? Okay? How much is that worth to you? And really, what would you do to get that? Would you tell 2 or 3 people a week about your little business? You can look at it as a little business, but you can expand that. We're going to show you how to take what you make over and above what you need to put back into your business to make it grow exponentially, even faster. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we know that we're gonna be able to give to you, provide for you, to grow what you may consider now a little bitty business or a little home business. And people kind of shake their heads at a home business, and it's like, why? It gives you the freedom that you're looking for. It gives you the out that you're looking for. And if you're afraid you can't do it, guess what? Everybody that is making a bunch of money right now has been there and done that. And now, though, because they broke through that fear barrier, they turn their life and their family's life around because of that. So, you know, you gotta overcome, like Raymond was saying, there's no limits. The only thing that is limiting you is your own belief in what you think you can accomplish. And we're here to tell you that you need to believe in the potential that you can do anything that you put your heart to. Anything that you desire is what you can do.
There's something that we've learned and we've come to realize, and obviously the concept, it's not something we come up with. It's the concept that's out there, and the concept is called infinite potential. And so the scientists, I mean, he's funny, the scientists and the philosophers who have gone back and forth since probably the beginning of time, have now at least come to an agreement that all of us as human beings on the face of the earth have something called infinite potential. That we can create out of our minds whatever we want and put it into our life. So all of the things around you were created in somebody's mind. That's where they started. And because they've come to this realization that the brain isn't what they thought it was, and you can go research it and study it and all that, but the point is that
Let me give you an example of what he's talking about. Have you ever had one of those moments whenever you had somebody in your past that you hadn't thought about in, say, 15 years, and they come to mind for just a brief moment, I mean, just that quick, and you recognize that you thought about that individual, and then within the next anywhere from a couple days to a couple hours to a couple weeks, you end up either getting a call from them or you run into them.
some kind of contact with them.
You end up in contact with them. See, that right there, I mean, it's like, we don't realize the power of the subconscious mind, because that's the one that's actually operating in the background. That's the one that's, anyway, we're going further into that than we care to in this video at the moment, but Raymond's right. Infinite potential. I mean,
From millionaires over 10 years, to millionaires over 5 years, to millionaires over a year, to a millionaire in a month, and there are people that are doing $100,000 a day now in income. Why? And the question is, what's the difference between them and you? And if you listen to a lot of their stories, you're going to find out